having this ability to not only ride with my mom and the journey of learning to ride with my mom, but to forever have this, not only from the video series Horses to Horsepower that we were able to do with Harley-Davidson and be able to share that, and forever have that to be able to look back at. I've watched those videos so many times just to relive those precious moments that are forever there. Just looking at how we will always have this together, and to be able to know that anywhere we want to go, we can jump on a couple of Harleys and go create new memories. Hey everybody, I am country recording artist Stephanie Quayle.
I am Steffi's mom, Eileen. I've always been intrigued by motorcycles, and a couple girlfriends got motorcycles, and so I joined them and went to motorcycle safety courses with Harley and ended up buying a Harley motorcycle.
I never thought riding motorcycles would be a part of my life. It really started with writing a song called Evel Knievel and, learning about his love of Harley. And he's from Butte, Montana. He was from Butte, Montana originally, and us being from Montana as well, there was just this, intrigue and question. And so as we, started to think about what else can we share with this song, and the idea of, my mom teaching me how to ride would just be the coolest thing ever. And I never thought that would be a part of my life, and now I can't imagine my life without it. So we had this idea of what if we share the visual story of my mom not only mentoring me through, she taught me how to ride horses, mentoring me through learning to ride a motorcycle, and her story and her why. I remember so vividly when she said to me, because I asked her the same question, what was it about riding a motorcycle that you just had to? And because riding horses all our lives, you get that freedom, you get that wind in your hair, you get all these similar emotions. And I remember, Mom, I don't know if you remember saying this, but you said to me, I only have to think about one heart. And that captured me in a way that it became I have to do this. I have to know this feeling, because when you're riding a horse, there are so many factors, and when you're riding a motorcycle, there are so many factors of what's in front of you as well. But you're in control of your heart, and you're in control of what's in front of you, and there's nothing like the freedom.
Every year I go on a girls' trip, and we go to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is a wonderful trip on a motorcycle because you get to experience all of your different senses heightened just a little bit. It's always a challenge to go over mountain passes and go through construction and all the different things that you have to be aware of when you're on that bike. And for me, it gives me a tremendous time to feel peace, and yet at the same time to be very creative and think about all the different things that are coming at me. And I think that for me, it's a time to be alone with myself and at the same time with my friends. When we go to Coeur d'Alene, it's usually about 4 girls that go together. We've been riding together for a long time, and we're very comfortable riding with each other, and we know that we have each other's back. If we run into different types of weather, which we always do, whether it's riding in the snow, which we never planned for, but sometimes that happens. And it's a time to just enjoy being girls that ride.
And when I think back to, when mom was first teaching me how to ride, and the courage, and that life takes a ton of courage. It takes a ton of courage to be vulnerable and emotional and to feel and to know, you know, uh, where you're going and maybe not know where you're going. I mean, I'll never forget when I first heard the phrase out of her mouth that said, "Only good will come of this." And I kid you not, I use that every single day. And it's a place where I always know that in a moment of challenge or unknowing, that only good will come of this. And it takes such strength to be able to say that, and it's so inspiring. My mom has continuously lived curiously and to find new adventures and to find new roads. And the fact that, when I was like, "Hey, let's do this," there wasn't any hesitation. When it was let's go ride and you mentor me, it was absolutely. When it was like, "Hey, we get to ride in Montana," it was absolutely. It was leaning into uh, the new versus saying no. And I think that curiosity is something I carry with me every single day, and find new ways and new roads to try things that I've never tried before, or things that I've, maybe I need to adjust how I've experienced those. And that's all inspiring. And I just am so excited for all the places we'll get to go, places we haven't yet experienced together. I can't wait to go on this girls trip. Thinking about being in Montana this summer and maybe being able to be a tag along. I might be a little slower than the group, but I will be I'll take up the tail.
When Steph first approached me about wanting to learn to ride, I was so delighted, because knowing the joy that I get from riding my motorcycle, I knew how much she would love this, because there isn't anything that Stephanie does that's less than 100% of herself. Usually it's much more, probably 150. And to watch her as she was studying and learning how to maneuver the bike was a thrill for me, because your heart kind of starts pounding a little bit and you get a little bit nervous for your child, but you know that they are going to accomplish it and they're going to do it well. So for me, it was I just got to giggle and enjoy every single moment of watching her grow and enjoy learning how to ride this bike.
Looking back to when we, first started this journey, I never expected myself to have such a desire to, jump on my Harley and just go steal back time, to really escape in that moment and clear my head and, dream and think about all that's yet to come. And, I just remember my vision board. I remember printing out the picture, no kidding, of my lowrider and putting it on my vision board and being like, one day I'm going to have this bike, and to know I have that bike and know that that's my bike and I can jump on it at any time and just go take to the roads and take to those moments. If it's, practicing a song in my helmet, or if it's, creating a new song that I just need to feel the road to write it, that's, it's synonymous with freedom. And, I, thinking about like all the years ahead, just to know that I have that, to be able to, be a part of a charity ride, which is such an awesome extension of sharing our voices forward. What is the good in any voice if you're not using it for good? So to be able to then take a new skill like riding and be able to join with the charity group, do a Harley ride, ride in Tennessee for the first time. So now we've got North Carolina, Montana and Tennessee covered from the standpoint of, being able to have jumped on a bike there, just to have that skill and to be able to really, get people excited about it, and that's really, the best part about it. Just like my mom shared, the joy that it brought her to watch me, to be able to watch other, like when I see these little kids, man, jump on these little Harleys and they're like so excited, and to know that that can be, an escape for them and a place for them, and a community, where everyone is welcome. And there's this camaraderie that's unlike anything I've ever experienced. And I'm still so new to it. I know my mom has, been experiencing this for over 20 years, but I'm still, I'm very new to it. But just to know that I have that wherever I go in the world. I was in the airport and I saw a guy wearing a Harley-Davidson shirt, and there's just this like instant eye contact, and we had this moment and we just knew. And we didn't talk about our bikes. We didn't really talk at all, but there was just this moment where, we just understood each other, and it was, it's really special.
Well, for me as a mom, when Steph said, "Mom, I'm going to come home and let's go for a ride," I thought, oh, this is going to be so much fun. And the weather was absolutely perfect, absolutely perfect. We had glorious sunshine, and the colors were lovely, lovely fall colors. And I was following Steph so that she could experience being leader, which, was a little bit different. And I was a little bit nervous for her because the roads are a little bit different than she was used to. And we're going up a canyon, so there are light and dark areas, and sometimes the road's a little bit rough, and she's having to maneuver around different objects, and she did just so well. I was so thrilled with that. Her confidence I could just see growing as we continued on our ride. And we ran into all sorts of traffic, and she handled herself beautifully with that. And I think when you are just learning and have, even though I still have so much respect for my bike, but when you're first learning, everything is heightened and you want to do so well, and you're just trying your very, very hardest. And she was doing such a good job at that. I couldn't have been more proud than I was following her, and watching her hair blow in the wind, and this gigantic smile on her face when we would stop and talk about where we had been and how much we were loving this time together. And then we just simply get the giggles. How fun is that, to have the giggles when all this craziness is going on in the world, and yet there's still this precious time to enjoy each other and laugh.
So the idea of riding in Montana on the roads that I grew up on with my mom, it's like other level dreams right there. So, it was really one of those days where everything was just flawless. And when Montana shows up just like a postcard. Yes, it's just so beautiful. And, growing up in it, I didn't realize how just phenomenal it truly is. And now as an adult, being able to experience it on the back of a Harley with my mom, and, to see her on her Fat Boy, in my side mirrors, and just knowing that she had me, she had my back, and all I needed to do was focus on what's in front of me. I got to take in, the beautiful, irrigation pipes in the fields that we had passed so many times growing up, to just the smells in the air, and the leaves changing, and the sunset. And it was honestly almost like a sensory overload, because it came together. The fact that we were able to do this and do this together, and that I was capable, and that I had the skill set, that I could, and that we could forever have this moment. And then where's the next? Where do we go next? And I feel that must be the feeling that most riders feel. You know, you go to your destination, you soak it up, and then you're like, okay, what's next? Where do we go next? What is my favorite thing about riding with my mom is the fact that I can say I ride with my mom. We have Harleys and we're going to take on a new adventure. Like, just the fact that I can say, hey mom, can I be the fifth wheel on your girl trip to Coeur d'Alene? Yes, I need rain gear. I have no idea what to do if snow happens, but I am game. Just to know that we can is the greatest feeling. You know, to know that I can is exceptional. And also what's so cool about that is then we get to share those stories with other people. And that's the best part of living, because we're living, we're doing it. We're not talking about it.
You know, I think it is such a precious time for me, because I can remember when Steffi was very tiny. I mean, like 4 months old, and I would have her on the front of my saddle in my lap when I was riding my horse. And she became very comfortable riding a horse because of the bond that was and is between us, that there's an energy that develops, a very positive energy. And the same thing happens as she moves on as an individual riding a horse, as an individual who's on a motorcycle with confidence. And there's still the energy that flows between us, that we're there for each other, but at the same time, we're very, very individual women. And I think that is so precious, to know that this little girl has grown up into this very confident woman who wants to take on any challenge that's coming her way. And believe me, motorcycles offer lots of challenging times.
I remember watching me while I was taking the motorcycle course. And I just watched her as I can't remember exactly what I did, Mom, maybe you'll remember, but you just put your hands in the air and you were so proud of me. And I don't know if I was going through, cones and maneuvering or what it was, or if I was doing a quick stop, or it was just, I just remember seeing you in your Harley shirt with your rhinestones on and us in our, our little get-ups, and I just was so taken by you because, I'm your kid, and you're there, and we're grown-ups. We're grown-ups, and we're getting to just do so much cool stuff together. And then of course, Montana, just riding together in Montana is unlike anything else. And us riding together and me being able to see you right behind me. As much as you didn't want to be behind me because I know you were, wanted to make sure I was safe, but just knowing you had my back, it just spoke volumes.
Well, it was really fun. After Stephanie had gone through all of her tests, I was just exploding with excitement because I thought it was so wonderful when she did her quick stop and her feet were planted on the ground. She did it very, very well. So when we took off on our first ride in North Carolina, there were a lot of new things for her to experience on the way. There were leaves that were a little bit slippery. There was a little bit of gravel, all sorts of different terrain that she hadn't been in on a bike. And to see her cautiously attack those little obstacles was just a delight. It was great fun. And then when she came to Montana, to see the growth in her riding expertise, that was just so much fun. because the scenery was unbelievable. We had mountains and we had all this beauty of Montana. But at the same time, I was tickled in watching her just expand. Just her base expanded, and she was like, I've got this, Mom. I've got this. I've got stuff to learn, but I've got this.
So one of the greatest joys about being able to perform and see humans eye to eye is one of the greatest joys with my music has been the moms and the daughters. And, to be able to have music that connects to both of those generations is really, really special. So now knowing that I can share the story of my mom and I and our love of riding, you can't force anything. It has to happen. It has to happen organically. It just has to know that someone else has done it. And I think that, knowing that we have this to share with others, that little girl that, when I did that charity ride, I remember she was holding her dad's hand and she looked at me. And I think she expected me to get on the back of someone else's bike. And when she saw me get on the bike I got to use all by myself and just take off, I just knew in that moment that she saw her future self being able to. And I think that's what's so important because, the more that we can share the love of riding, the curiosity of riding, the camaraderie of riding, the freedom of riding, but also, it's like my mom shared, being able to be alone in whatever you're dealing with, but also with a group of people is a really wild experience. To have these two worlds simultaneously happening is unlike anything else. And, the more little girls we get on bikes, the more moms we get on bikes, the more freedom they get to feel and the more dreams they're going to chase. And what greater gift can we give? What greater message can we share?
A lot of times the word empowerment comes up these days. And I think we sometimes forget that starts deep inside, deep in a person's core. I truly believe that the more freedom and empowerment that a woman can experience joyfully, the better off she is. And I think that's something that Steph and I get to experience as mother and daughter, and encouraging that empowerment in a very positive way. It comes off to other people. It just radiates off. And getting off that bike and watching people's expressions when they realize, oh my goodness, she's riding that bike herself. She's not riding behind someone. She's riding herself. It makes a difference. I think something that's truly wonderful about being on a motorcycle is how heightened all of your senses are. It's a funny thing that you are in this zen of motorcycle riding, but at the same time, your mind is clear, your sense of touch is heightened, your sense of smell is heightened, your awareness of what is around you is heightened, and yet at the same time, you're experiencing this peace.